I went to Saudi Arabia for Hajj in 77, and I went back to study in 79. But you can't just go to Quran and Sunnah and you have no foundation. That's like going to swim in the Atlantic Ocean and you don't know how to swim in the baby pool. I don't go out to give dawah to teach. I go out to plant a seed. And that seed I'm planting might not bloom at this time, but it will at a later date. We traveled, we left New York in 75. I left with 200 papers, holes in my shoes, cardboard in the bottom, a one-way bus ticket to Chicago. We never looked back. You know, the dawah's been progressing since that time. I'm thankful to Allah. He's allowed our children to be hafiz of Quran, all of them. And one of them was teaching in Masjid Nabawi, the Quran. I have 26 grandchildren, all of them are Muslims. It's from the barakah of Quran. Hold on to the book of Allah, the Quran, and to the sunnah of the Prophet.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. This is Sadiq and Mustafa. We got some exciting news for you. We'll be starting a new podcast called Deen City, where we interview reverts over the past years of us doing dawah. How long have you been doing dawah for, Mustafa?
A couple years, like maybe 6, 7.
6, 7 years, and we've seen hundreds and hundreds of reverts. So everyone out there, if you want to be interviewed, let us know. And yeah, we'll get to it.
رزق الهدى من للهداية يسأل اسمع كلام محقق في قوله لا ينثني عنه ولا يتبدل حب الصحابة كلهم لي مذهب ومودة القربى بها أتوسل ولكلهم قدر على وفضائل لكنما الصديق.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبيه الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته, Sheikh.
Assalamu warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Deen City. As you can see, we're in a bit of a different place. We're actually at one of our restaurants near our masjid. We have our brother Sheikh Khalid here, all the way from Medina. He's going to be joining us and telling us a little bit about himself and his story of how he became Muslim and a little bit about the dawah he does and how things were in Medina with him, inshallah.
Inshallah, Sheikh. So tell us about yourself a little.
Well, actually, I started coming to Islam in 1965, right after Malcolm got killed.
Malcolm X?
Malcolm X. They burnt down the temple on 116th Street, and they were meeting over Jehovah Witness place in the Bronx on Prospect Avenue. So that's why I started getting active at that time. And I had a friend named from the Bronx named Butch Camp. His brother was at that time in the nation. So he was the one that used to talk to me about it. So I was going to the temple in 65, but I wasn't ready to leave my lifestyle alone. So I stayed active in Jahiliyyah until 69. In 69 is when I accepted Islam as I knew it at that time. I came in on Blue Hill Avenue in Boston. So I was going to junior college at that time. So then I came back to Brooklyn and I was in the mosque at that time, 70’s in Brooklyn. And that's when we started learning more about the deen, more about the sunnah from that time, 1975.
MashaAllah.
Yes.
So, were you born Muslim?
No, my parents were Christian. I went to a Catholic school. My parents were Christians.
MashaAllah.
But alhamdulillah, my father took shahada the day he died.
MashaAllah.
And my mother died as a Christian. She never accepted Islam. Yes.
Wow. So what was the thing that led you to Islam at the initial point?
The initial point was I wasn't satisfied with what I was getting from the Christian church. I was going to the Catholic church, and I wasn't satisfied with what I was getting there. You know, so I was looking for something else. And at that time, you know, I didn't know anything about Islam to be able to distinguish what was proper Islam, what wasn't proper Islam, because we didn't know anything about Islam.
Right.
So that was my introduction, how I came into Islam. Yes.
Okay. MashaAllah. So tell us a little bit about your involvement in Dawah And
Yeah,
what was because you went to Medina, right, in Saudi?
Yeah, I've been giving dawah since I came in '69.
Okay.
Okay, we had to sell 300 papers a week.
Okay.
Okay,
MashaAllah.
When you say papers, you mean like newspapers?
Muhammad Speaks.
Okay.
Muhammad Speaks. That was our dawah means
Okay.
to give people dawah to Islam at that time.
Okay.
I was selling 1,000 a week.
MashaAllah.
I sold 1,000 a week for 7 years. And I had a crew. We were selling 10,000 papers a week.
Wow.
And we started in Queens, Brooklyn, then all over. Then we started traveling cross country. We went all the way to Chicago. We went to California and back.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, selling papers and giving dawah. So we've been doing that since six. Actually, we traveled. We left New York in '75. I left with 200 papers, holes in my shoes, cardboard in the bottom, and a one-way bus ticket to Chicago.
Wow.
We never looked back.
Wow.
So, yeah, you know, the dawah's been progressing since that time.
MashaAllah. So from there, you went to Saudi and you studied there?
I went to Saudi in I went to Hajj. I went a Hajj trip in '77 from Muhammad Ali and his manager, Jabir Muhammad, for being one of the top paper sellers and dawah people in our community. And '77, I went to Hajj. In '79, I went back to Mecca to study.
Okay. Muhammad Ali? The Muhammad Ali?
Muhammad Ali,
Same
yes.
Muhammad Ali? The
Yes.
boxer, right?
Yeah, the boxer,
Wow.
yes.
Okay. He paid for your Hajj.
Yes, he paid for our Hajj.
How was he as a Muslim?
Oh man, he was
Also-
sweet. He was sweet, brother. You know, he built over 100 masjids.
Allah.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
He built over 100 masjids. He gave a lot of charity,
MashaAllah.
and everybody loved him, man.
MashaAllah.
You know, one time we was in Michigan, and he's in a restaurant. He's sitting at a table with business people, and we're sitting at another table. So Muhammad Ali said to the business people, he said, I'm going to talk to my Muslim brothers. So he got up and left them and came to talk to us. He said, Muhammad, we're coming up to your room to see you. He said, oh, that's different. I didn't know y'all were coming upstairs.
MashaAllah.
Then he went back. And so he had a lot of love for the Muslims.
MashaAllah.
He had a love. He used to always give out flyers
MashaAllah.
in Dawah and sign his name on it.
MashaAllah.
A lot of people
Yeah, I
came
saw
into
videos
Islam
of that.
from Muhammad Ali.
MashaAllah.
Yes, a lot of people. You know.
May Allah reward him.
Allah
So
bless
he,
him.
because of what he did, you ended up going to Saudi and
I went
studying
to
there?
Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Actually, I went to Saudi Arabia for Hajj in '77, and I went back to study in '79.
Okay, and you studied in Darul Hadith, right? And
First
then
of all,
Malik-
I studied in the language program was attached to Malik Abdulaziz in Jeddah.
MashaAllah.
That's before it was al-Qura.
Okay.
Then I studied in Mahad al-Haram and Darul Hadith Khairiyah. Yes.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah. So tell us, what stood out? What is something about Islam that stands out more than any other religion on this face of the earth? Like, what appeals to you? What appeals to that spirituality? What about Islam itself that you didn't get in Christianity? No.
Well, for me, my progression is in Islam with stages.
Okay.
Okay, in Islam, I got discipline. Then I was taught how to follow instructions. So when the new leader came in, I followed the instructions of the new leader, and that's what led me to the Sunnah.
Oh, okay.
You see, so it was a progression. It was stages and steps that led me to where I am today.
MashaAllah.
You know, each step, you know, Allah develops us all in different ways.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
There's some circumstance and conditions.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for me, with my growth and development came in stages. Okay, if you had just come to talk to me about Islam, the way you know Islam back in 1969, I wouldn't accept it
Yeah.
because I wasn't on that level.
You wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that.
It's just like when you're at school, you can't learn how to multiply without learning how to add and,
Yes.
and
So
subtract.
this is why
Minimum
I
exam.
tell some people that they have a misunderstanding. Madhab is like a school of learning Islamic law. You have grammar school, junior high school, and university.
Right.
Now, can you study trigonometry if you haven't finished grammar school?
No, definitely not.
Okay. So this is a system. Each madhab is a system of learning the Sharia, Islamic law.
No.
And the stages. Okay. Then when you get to the higher stages, then you can go to the Quran and Sunnah. But you can't just go to Quran and Sunnah and you have no foundation.
Of course.
That's like going to swim in the Atlantic Ocean and you don't know how to swim in the baby pool.
That's me.
That's suicide.
Yeah, so
That's suicide.
I think the point I'm making is we grow in stages.
No.
Each one of us grow in stages.
No.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that sets the stage and circumstances and conditions for us to grow.
No.
Yes.
You know how the guy in high school, his name is Ayed Muhammad, had a big Sajda mark on his head. And he was practicing the Sunnah, but everybody was beating him up.
Wow.
So I used to tell him, listen, Ayed, man, I used to have to fight for him. You know, he said, well, I'm going to teach you. And the Prophet, I said, listen, brother, I ain't accepting nothing turning the other cheek. You know, somebody hit me, I'm hitting them back.
Right.
So he couldn't reach me. You see what I'm saying? He had the truth.
Right.
And he was a good brother, but he couldn't reach me because I wasn't on the level to accept what he was bringing. So I'm saying that we all come through different circumstances and conditions.
Gotcha. So that makes sense. So tell us now something when it comes to dawah. When you're talking to a non-Muslim, how do you start off with telling them about Islam?
Okay, for me, I don't go out to give dawah to teach. I go out to plant a seed. Okay? And that seed I'm planting might not bloom at this time, but it will at a later date.
No.
Like, if I give you a smile and shake your hand and say, good morning, how are you today? I'm going to leave such an impression on you that you're not going to forget that good morning.
No.
You see? And then you're going to say, you know what? There's something about that brother. I don't know what it is, but I get a good vibe when I meet him. Then you're going to want to start coming around. Okay? Then I'm going to feed you in time. You know, you don't give a baby steak when he's just born. You know? So we're trying to give people the 5 pillars of Islam, the 6 articles, all at one time. And they haven't been born yet. So people, you have to work with them on the level that they're on. But the key is your introduction. How you introduce when you're dealing with somebody. Like the brother today, he was out there. I was working with him, and a lady came by and he gave her a flyer. And then we talked to her son, and she was so happy. What'd she say?
She said he was very happy,
Yeah, so we
said that she's, just to translate for the people who can't hear.
No.
He said that she was very happy and she's going to look into it and about something about her son.
Can you come here and say it? Please come so the people can see it.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, so we were given dawah earlier today, and you know it was a pleasure to learn from the Sheikh, and he was giving me advice on what to do. And this woman and her grandson. This woman and her grandson came by, and you know it was really just us, exhibiting good manners. And you know the lady was super happy. She was like really just surprised and dumbfounded by, you know, how kind we were. And, you know, we gave her child candy. She was very happy. And she said that she's definitely going to take a stop by the dawah table and learn about Islam, you know, even though that may not be today, but inshallah, we planted the seed, like you said, and may Allah help her and guide her and her grandson.
So that's the dawah I'm talking about giving, planting a seed in the person that will be watered in time. Yes. But you have to deal with the soil first. You can't just plant seed anywhere. You have to deal with the soil.
Foundation.
Yes.
That's beautiful advice, Sheikh. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair for joining us.
Before you go, I would like for you to tell us what stood out for you about the Quran, about Allah.
Say it again.
I would like for you to tell our people what stood out for you about Islam. What is the Quran or Prophet Muhammad?
Right.
or about Allah Himself?
Right.
Something that stood out to you.
The prayer says, surely I have turned myself to thee, O Allah, trying to be upright, to he who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer and my sacrifice, my life and my death is all for Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. No associate has he, and this is my commanded. I am of those who submit. Now, I have been saying that prayer every morning for years, but the reality of that prayer didn't hit me till I was in Medina.
Allah.
When the reality of that prayer hit me in Medina, I just broke down crying
Allah.
because I didn't realize the magnitude of what I was saying. So I said all that to say sometimes we do things and we don't realize the magnitude of what we're actually doing till one day Allah opens us up and then we see it and then it's like, it's overwhelming. So I'm just thankful to Allah that He has guided me and made me Muslim. I'm thankful to Allah. He's allowed my children to be Hafiz the Quran, all of them. And one of them was teaching in Masjid Nabawi, the Quran. And I'm thankful to Allah. I have 26 grandchildren. All of them are Muslims. Yes, so it's from the barakah of Quran. So my advice is hold on to the book of Allah, the Quran, and to the Sunnah of the Prophet.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, Sheikh.
Yes.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Barakallah fiqh. May Allah reward you. Thank you so
Very
much.
much.
Barakallah fiqh.
الصحابة كلهم لي مذهب ومودة القربى بها أتوسل ولكلهم قدر على وفضائل لكنما الصديق منهم أفضل وأقول في القرآن ما جاءت